Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Fitness Knocking with Lois. I'm your host, and we are talking today about feeling ageless. And you think, oh my gosh, how do I feel ageless when I'm aging every single minute of every single day? Well, we're going to share with you a whole bunch of different things that you can do right now, starting today, to feel better. And I have with me my good friend, Evie. And she's going to be talking with us about this. Now, Evie is a holistic health coach, and she works with a lot of different types of people. She certainly works with people who suffer from joint pain. So if you know someone who has joint pain or has foggy thinking or, well, has intense sugar cravings, I don't know anybody like that. Pause for a second. Watch us for 10 minutes. Chime in with your questions. If you would like, please comment, please subscribe to this channel, and definitely ask us your questions because you have an expert right here that can absolutely answer them for you. So,
Use me.
if you haven't watched me before, my company, Fitness Knocking, we're a mobile service. We come right to your home, right to your office. We work with people virtually. We work with people in person in New Jersey. So if you need some guidance and some coaching, we've been doing online for a few years now. So it's something that we can really help get you up and running. So if that's something that you need for you to feel better, if you got the nutrition piece down, now you need the exercise piece, we can work together. So let's get to it. So Evie, welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. And thank you for that introduction. That was great. Yeah, working together synergistically, exercise and healthy eating is the way to go.
Yeah. I say it's mental. It's definitely a big piece of mental, definitely a big piece of exercise, but nutrition is a huge piece. It's really important to have that going on. So,
right.
I know that you know this, and a lot of my viewers know that I'm over 40, and I don't feel like I look over 40. I don't feel like I act over 40. But a couple weeks ago, I was on vacation with my husband, and we walked into this bar, and there are a whole bunch of 20-somethings there. And if you're 20-something, please don't think that this isn't for you. This is for you too. But I don't feel like I look as old as I do until I see people who are in their 20s.
It is funny, isn't it? The aging process, it does sneak up on us. But
right.
And as I liked what you said, we are aging every day, but you don't have to feel it, right? You don't have to feel like it. You're in with young people, that's keeping you feeling young. But the trick is to do things to keep you young and not do things that age you quicker than you should. Right. So you can slow down that aging process. And I love, what you were saying. There's lots of factors that go into that, right? There's lifestyle factors, physical activity, so important, right? We know that. Get the heart pumping, get that oxygen to every cell of the body, because that's what's driving every cell of the body.
Yeah.
Things like getting enough sleep. I know a lot of my clients really don't get enough sleep. It's not just resting. It's a time of repair. It's a time of rebuilding. And balancing stress, also really important, something that exercise helps with, right? But really balancing that, making sure that we take a deep breath every now and then.
Yeah, we're going to do that with us right now.
I know. Just doing that is...
taking the time to just take a quick breath during your day, as those little minutes of fully expanding the diaphragm, they make your muscles work properly, but it really takes you down a level because it brings you into, okay, whatever's happening right now, I have a bright future. I'm going to be okay. And then you can start feeling better. But, I love that whole saying that 30 is the new 20 and 50 is the new 40 and, or whatever, like whatever that saying is. But, I don't know. Part of me is like, embrace your age. Embrace it, because if you feel good and you feel like you look good, that's all that matters. You don't
how you present yourself.
For 29 forever, you can pretend you're your real age forever.
But a lot of that too has to do with the way you feel, right? Because aging is the way you look outside, right? So wait till you get to 60 and you'll see you don't bounce back as much as you did before, but you can do things. Your attitude, you can stay active, and these things help you age less quickly. Right. So we talked about lifestyle. Hydration, also very important. I'm sure you talk to your clients about that all the time. But foods can help us as well. And that's what I love talking about, the nutrition behind, how nutrition can help us. We really are what we eat. So what we want to do is we want to put foods in that age us less slowly and avoid those that age us more quickly. And unfortunately, a lot of the foods that are aging us more quickly are foods that are in the standard American diet. Right. Foods that are high in sugar, foods that are high in processed flours, so simple carbohydrates that break down into sugars, foods that have trans fatty acids, packaged foods with preservatives. All of these things are leading to, it's a toxic burden on our body that actually causes inflammation. And inflammation is what is aging us. It's what makes
talk about that a little bit more. So when we're talking about inflammation, I know I recently sent someone to you and I know about it. Mm-hmm. When it comes to inflammation in the body, if somebody has inflammation, how do they know that it's caused by some foods versus other foods? Like, should they just eliminate everything and just eat kale all the time? Or that's not good for some people if they're on a blood thinner, so they can't do that. So how do they know?
So part of it is about food avoidance and part of it is about adding in. Okay. So the food avoidance I help my clients with because I have a blood test that I work with a medical diagnostic lab where we can actually test for 132 different foods. So foods that are good for one person are not necessarily good for another. Right. And a lot of that has to do with how healthy your system is and how you're digesting those foods and how your body's reacting to them. Right. So once that's determined, the trick is then to add in these foods that are anti-aging. I like to think of them in that way. And it just so happens they're kind of the foods that our parents ate. The things like, remember when they said, eat your spinach? Well, there is something to that because plant-based foods are actually anti-aging. And they do this because they have natural phytochemicals that they produce to protect themselves from pests or infection, that when we eat those foods, we're getting that same protection. Yeah. So they are actually stopping that aging process by giving us what are called antioxidants, because oxidation is like a normal process of our body. The cells, it's a byproduct of our cells every day. Like you're saying, you can't stop it, right?
What do you say to people who are like, oh, I don't like leafy greens?
Yeah, well, you know what? It doesn't have to just be leafy greens. Okay. There's things like blueberries. Mm-hmm. Now, we're talking about antioxidants. Or antioxidants, they're all different kinds. What was that?
Or beets or tomatoes or watermelon. Right? Oh, watermelon season is coming.
What I like about what you're saying, Lois, is you're mentioning all different colors. Yeah. And that's really important because these phytochemicals that protect the plants, they express themselves as color. And they help support our bodies in different ways. So for instance, you mentioned tomatoes. Tomatoes and watermelon have lycopene. Lycopene helps protect our skin from the damaging effect of the sun's rays.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect, right? That's a good anti-ager, right?
It's like it's your inside version of
sunscreen.
Sunscreen, yeah.
Exactly. But it's natural. It's a natural process.
And don't for a second think we're not saying, you still need to wear sunscreen. That's really important.
Very important.
So protecting yourself on the inside and the outside better. Right.
And you're helping that sunscreen work better because you're helping from the inside as well. So that's one way to think of it as well, is that you're working synergistically now with these things that you're putting on topically, right? Like your face creams that you put on, to keep your skin smooth.
Right.
You're working from the inside out.
Right. Or
So,
like last week we talked about facial acupuncture with Joan Arata from Modern Acupuncture, and we talked about like how doing facial acupuncture actually helps to promote more collagen. So
right.
you can eat your collagen, you can have it replaced this way, and then you can put it on topically, and then magic
Right.
happens.
And this whole concept of cell turnover, it
Right.
has to do with oxidation.
Yeah.
So if we keep our cells healthy and we neutralize that oxidizing aging process by the foods that we're eating, it helps with that turnover. It
Right.
helps us refresh our skin and look younger and healthier. It's funny, when we talk about aging, we think about what's on the outside, but aging is inside as well. Our organs are aging. Exactly. So we need to nurture inside with the foods that we're eating. So for instance, we were talking about colors.
Mm-hmm.
The intensity of the color is just as important as the color.
Yeah.
So you want to eat the darker. So if you're doing lettuce, for instance,
Right.
do romaine. It's a darker green. Green leafy vegetables are the best anti-aging foods that we can eat. I mentioned berries. Berries have wonderful the blue and blueberries, the anthocyanins are wonderful for protecting our brain. The red grapes, the red wine, we all want to hear something good about that. Well, resveratrol in that has been found to help with brain function, help with actually heart, and it helps support the suppleness of our skin.
Right.
So, of course, wine in moderation, right? We don't want to overdo.
You want to be mindful of any kind of alcohol, whatever it is, because that affects other organs in the body. But in moderation, I agree. Yeah.
Right. And it kind of goes back to what I'm saying, variety.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't
do just one.
Please.
Yeah.
Eat that every day.
So variety and intensity.
Yeah. And trying to eat in season, right?
Absolutely. Because the foods that are in season have more of these phytonutrients in them. So the more that's inside of that food that you're eating, the more you're getting.
Right.
And
they're on sale too at the supermarket.
Yes, very important. And they taste better. They taste better, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Think about strawberries who are not in season, and then you go buy strawberries from your local farm.
Right.
What a difference.
Yeah.
It's such a difference.
So those antioxidants are so important. The other thing that's also really important for aging less quickly is getting healthy fats. So remember I talked about that standard American diet?
Yep.
Well, we have all of these artificial fats added to everything in our breads, our pastry, everything. So get away from that, get back to natural foods, because those omega-3 fatty acids are the healthy acids, and they help with our cholesterol levels. They help with brain health. We definitely want to get more of those in, and we can do that through cold water fish like salmon, or things that we don't think about like mackerel and sardines. Canned fish is good too.
Absolutely. And if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, you can do walnuts.
That was my next thing, walnuts and seeds.
If you can't do nuts, you can do flax, or if you can't do seeds, there's lots of other options. So you can always reach out for somebody to help you with that. Of course, somebody like Edie. So we have a couple questions that came in.
Sure.
Matt asked, are you a registered dietitian?
I am not a registered dietitian.
So why don't you explain the difference?
The difference being that as a health coach, I'm taking a more holistic approach. So when I talk with my clients, it's not the number of calories, the number of carbs or fats or protein that you're eating. It's more taking a look at, what does your plate look like? Does it have a lot of color in it? Does it have a lot of vegetables in it? Does it have unprocessed foods in it? That's the basis of the discussion. If I'm working with a client and we do the inflammatory food testing and it shows that there are very specific foods that are causing inflammation, we work to pull those out. But also, what can you do to substitute? What can you put in to make up for that? It's not about depriving yourself. It's about adding in. And when you add in, you naturally crowd out those aging foods, right? We're adding in those ageless foods.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great answer. Thank you. So we have another question. We have time for one more. What suggestions do you have for somebody in their 20s
to
help look and feel better when they're older in life? So this is somebody who's being really preventative. So good thing you're being preventative.
And I love that word, preventative, because what we're talking about is preventative.
It's not like the oil change on your car or the tire,
right?
Rotate your tires. Like prevention is key.
And I think as a woman who's 60, I'm thinking about, adding in these things because my cells aren't turning over. The wear and tear is harder on my body. Right. But the earlier you start this process, the earlier you start eliminating those foods that age you, the better able you are to stay young, the more flexible your cells stay. Yeah. And that's a good thing as you move into your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, and as I'm going into 60s, right?
Awesome. Well, this was so valuable. We had a bunch of other comments. Thanks, Mary Ellen, for chiming in. Bonnie, thanks for chiming in. We appreciate all of your questions. And if you have any other questions and you're watching this after the fact, you can always chime in with a question in the chat and we will. Oh, we have our top 10.
I almost forgot too, just real quickly.
So this is a top 10 list that you need to have in your diet. Now, again, not necessarily every day, but you want to pull these into your diet on the regular if you can. So go ahead, go through them. Right.
So I can mail that out if people want to PM, but PM me. I can also email a recipe for purple ice cream, which uses those very healthy blueberries. Ooh. But just real quickly, blueberries is on the top of that list. Yep. We've got beets, which you mentioned, citrus fruit, which is high in vitamin C, good for the immune system, avocados, healthy fat, tomatoes, sweet potatoes, red grapes. There's your spinach and your kale, how to fit that in there. Salmon, mackerel, and sardines, we mentioned those, and raw nuts.
Awesome. What a great list. And if you have any food sensitivities or anything like that, and you can't eat one of those things, by all means, reach out to Evie. Here's her contact information. That's her website down below. And you can, of course, reach out to her, and she's happy to get that information out to you. So again, if you want that list that she just said, you can message me in the comments, and we'll send it off to you in a private message. But thank you, Evie, so much for joining me today. Thank you at home for watching. We really appreciate you
so much for having me.
If you haven't commented or liked this, please do that. We really appreciate that. That helps us grow and continue to do these. So thanks so much, everybody, for watching. And thanks, Evie. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you again. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.